Chris, just give us an overview of your team as you see it right now.
Gosh, young. These two guys are seniors, and we don't have a boatload of them. Total, we've got 17 seniors on the roster. And the two deep, I mean, you're going to see, two deep that's littered with 10th and 11th graders. Now, the seniors we do have been it's been a good group. They've done a great job this offseason as far as, providing leadership for us. We've got some young guys, and we're going to have to grow up in a hurry. These two guys these guys have been, they've been anchors for us really for the last, 4 years, just with regard to, their attitude, their mindset, the work ethic that they, bring every day, the leadership that they provide. And Will's coming off of an ACL that he got against Hoover last year. Was it second quarter?
Yeah, second
quarter of the Hoover game, and it really set us back for a couple of weeks when we lost him, because he is the defensive leader that we have over there. Jonathan was hurt early in his 10th grade year, came on second half of his 10th grade year, had a great year. Last year, we probably didn't utilize him the way we needed to, and we're looking for big things from Jonathan this fall.
Coach, you're talking about leaders coming up, or people coming up. Who's some names that we can expect to maybe step into some key roles this year? And then second part of the question, if y'all want to go on and expound on it, is what are you guys doing to bring those guys up as seniors, as leaders, to mentor those guys to make that next step?
I think as far as other guys in our senior class, and I know you're asking about the younger guys, but we do have some guys in our senior class. Drew Padgett's offensive lineman. Drew's done a super job of stepping up, and he's a guy that has been with us for 2 years, has not had a boatload of playing time. He's got a lot of ability, but he has really, just stepped into that role up front for us offensively, and he needs to, because we only have two seniors up front offensively. We've got a third that's in the two deep, and that group is young, and we're going to need him to gel in a hurry, and he's done a good job there. Young guys up front offensively, you got Nick Rigdon at center. Nick's a guy that you're going to hear a lot about. Drew Rowland as an offensive tackle, and Alex Mathis as a guard. Those three guys are all got great work ethic, get after it, and they all have ability. We think we're going to be okay. They're just young. In the backfield, obviously our quarterback, Evan Smith, be a 10th grader, but he's got a lot of snaps under his belt, and he's certainly he's a guy that our kids respect and look up to, and he does a super job of leading defensively along with Will. We've got Jacob Payne. Jacob is another senior defensive lineman, outside linebacker. He got hurt in preseason last year. Was like our second week of practice. He tore up his knee and his ankle, so he ended up rehabbing all off season. He's back to full speed, and we're excited to have him back. And he's providing, an awful lot of leadership. And then Chase Swinder, other guys that are back there. Chase Swinder's a free safety. Zach Smith's a cornerback. Those two guys, are really going to be guys that we think are going to make plays for us back there. KJ Jackson, Khalib Jackson is another one that's got a lot of ability to make plays. Justin Taylor's a linebacker, has got some ability, and we're looking for leadership from those guys.
You mentioned your quarterback.
Yeah.
How much are you guys, and I'm not asking you to totally give away your game plan, but how much are you guys still doing triple option type stuff? How much of it is spread?
We are, last year, as the year progressed, we went backwards offensively, and we got away from really our identity and who we were. I spent, really we took a week to inventory equipment, and then the week after that, I went to Texas to visit with some friends and just spend a week with a program out there. And we've been evaluating ourselves. Really, we started evaluating ourselves about midway through last year, just looking at why we were going backwards. So to answer your question, we're going to get back to being who we are. And Evan's a kid that, he really, I think, is a complete quarterback. He can run the football. He can throw the football. We're going to ask him to do both. I think, when people look at, well, you're an option-based team, you're not going to throw the ball. Hey, look, we'll throw it as much as we need to, as much as we can. It comes down to, can you pass protect, can you catch? And I think we've made progress there. I think this summer we made a lot of progress in that area. So you'll see us, we're not going to, we'll still, we always have. I mean, we went to the split back beer in 2014. We've always had elements of, a spread concept. We'll get in the gun and do things. I think last year, the good thing about last year is there's some things that we did in the run game that we are able to keep. But then again, as we go back and we're going to be up under center, we're going to do what we do. And, I think it's going to give people a little bit more trouble trying to defend us. But the biggest thing it's going to do is it's going to reestablish our identity. We got to be a soft football team last year. I mean, from about the fourth game on, we were a soft team, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. I thought we got better last half of the year defensively, but we've got to come off and hit people in the mouth and create problems that way. We can't run the football. We don't have the personnel to get out there and throw the ball 40 times a game. We're not going to be able to do that, but we can get out there and throw it 25 times a game, assuming we can run the ball with it.
Chris, not to harp on Evan too much, but how unusual is it to have a sophomore quarterback who's had starting experience at this level at 7A and probably best known district or region?
Well, he's the first I've had. I mean, and I know there are guys out there, and he's just a heck of a player. He's a special young man, and I think the thing that, I said this last year, the stage never gets too big for him, but he's that way. He started for us as a point guard on the basketball team. I mean, he's just that type of kid, and every so often you get those guys. He's the first one I've had in 31 years that. You look up, and I said this to somebody earlier this summer. I mean, he's got a chance to be the best kid I've ever coached. I've coached 3 kids that have made NFL rosters, and I don't know that he'll do that, but he's got a chance to be the best I've ever coached.
Last year, I think I asked you about this, but it's just a flipped schedule. You guys get to play Thompson, Hewitt, Hoover, one after the other. What did you learn about managing that stretch last year?
Well, a lot. And I think the thing that, 2 things that we've got to do, and we've talked to these guys. In fact, we talked about it on the way over. We talked about it last week. When I first got to Oak Mountain, we made it a point those first few years that, we've got to stop considering ourselves second class. I think when I got here, that was the mindset. I think we did a good job of just squelching that. Our kids, we played with a chip on our shoulder. I think what I've done poorly over the last 3-4 years, maybe, certainly 3 years, maybe 4, is I've assumed that our kids had gotten over that. Well, I don't think we have. I think we still, you look at the schedule and you see, those guys, and it's like I told them the other day, we kind of do this thing, oh my gosh, we're playing these guys. Look, here's the reality. There's not a team on our schedule that we can't beat. Now, there's not a team on our schedule that can't beat us, but if we don't start having that kind of mindset, and that's what we did. I mean, early on, we said, well, we'll play anybody, anytime, anywhere, and I think we've lost that. So with regard to answering your question with how to manage it, number one, we got to take it 1 week at a time. Number 2, I think when we got through that stretch last year, the first two games of that stretch, I think we played well. We slacked off a little bit against Hoover. I thought they played very well against us. We took a step back that week, but then when we got done with that ball game, we exhaled and we relaxed. And then you turn around and you're playing Pelham, and that's a heck of a ball game for Pelham. It always has been. I played them 3 times. And, we lost by 1 in overtime. The other 2 games, they smoked us, and they smoked us again last year. And we don't have it. You can't relax. There's not a game on our schedule where we can sit there and say, whew. There's not. But again, if we're sitting there and we're saying, all right, we've got Thompson or Hewitt, Thompson, Hoover, and that we're going to go 0-3, then we might as well just turn it in now. Let's just play a JV schedule and go from there. So it's, I'm done with that. I'm done with that mentality. And again, the other part of it is this. Then you got Mountain Brook County, Spain Park, and Vestavia. It ain't like it gets any easier. I mean, those guys may not have guys with 7 stars behind their names, but those guys are still really good high school football players. So we've got to step up and play.
Well, for the players, for both of you guys, when Coach talks about that, he said that, you guys need to have the realization that you're not second-class citizens in the region. How did that make you feel?
It just feels great that I feel like we need to get out of that mentality in order to be successful, because we feel like, we're playing these guys, and that shouldn't be how we think or feel about that. We should just go out there and play and give our best effort. At the end of the day, we should come out on top, or however.
It's completely true. We've played against these teams year in, year out, and we've competed with them. Like last year with Trussville, Thompson. We can play with those guys any week. We just have to, be prepared and come ready to play each game.
Yeah, you said something interesting. Maybe the most honest thing anybody said all day, but you said you felt like your team got soft last year. Mm-hmm. So how do you, particularly with
I got a handkerchief, Ruben, if you need it.
The contact rules that you have, there's only so much contact you can have. It seems like you'd have to get creative to try to build some tough.
Oh, I don't, and here's the reality. And yes, I mean, that's a factor. And I think people look at that and say, oh my gosh, they don't let you do this in practice. They won't let you do that. The reality is this, with the way the rules are set up, it doesn't really change. Now, there's certain things, when I first got here, guys, we got on the boards every flipping day. I mean, and it was, I don't know that we did that all 3 years, but the first year and a half, buddy, it was a bloodletting when we went out to practice. We don't have to do that. I think it comes down to more of a mindset when we come out. And when our deal offensively is this: when that ball snapped, everybody's running a 100-yard dash. Well, if I come off slow on a 100-yard dash, I'm beat. If I get beat at the start, I'm done. So we've got to come out, and everything we do has got to be full speed. And that's, we're not. You sit there and we get up there, and I don't know what happens, but it's like you get in the gun. At least with our guys, other guys, I don't see it. I mean, Chris Yeager, Mountain Brook, they're in the gun. They're anything but soft. They come out, they hit you in the mouth. Buddy at Vestavia, the same thing. Of course, he's under center. Hoover, those guys are not soft up front. Our guys, I don't know if we just, by getting the gun, we just said, we don't have to come off the ball, but we start playing up tall. We start catching. It was more of a mindset than anything else. It's not, we've got certainly challenges with how to practice and keep guys healthy and practice. We don't want to get guys hurt. We don't want to get guys dinged in the head. Maybe we use a little bit more bags, but it's still just a mindset. When that ball snap, I'm coming off the ball and I'm hitting you in the mouth, and, we're getting after it.
And did you just feel like there was something psychological about not being under center?
I don't know if it was not being under center. It was just because, again, I don't think it's per se that. I just think we got into this thing where we just weren't coming off and hitting people. We slow. Give an example. We run inside veer. If we're under center, we run inside veer. That play hits so fast that by the time our dive back is at the level of the linebackers, it's been 0.9 seconds. We're in the gun and we're running the same play. We're getting to the level of linebackers in like 2 seconds, 2.0. So it's twice maybe more than that, about 2.5. It's over 2 times, the length of time it takes for us to get to that level. And, guys are having, I don't know if we're having to think more about combo blocks, and we're just not thinking about coming off. And, Josh, I've got you, and I'm going to come off the boom. I'm going to knock the tar out of you, and it's over. If I sit there and think about it, the play's done. I've been whipped. And it's more of that type of deal. Again, I don't know if it's per se getting, because we've got to get in. I mean, there's too many things we can do in the gun. We can't sit there and not get in the gun. It helps us when we're throwing the ball. It's certainly better when you can get your quarterback back and he's not having to take a 3-step drop under center or a 5-step drop under center, but also got to be able to run. If I get in the gun, all I'm doing every time is throwing the football, then, those guys are pinning their ears back and they're teeing off on us, and we can't do that.
For the players themselves, how has social media changed your game or your approach to the games during the week?
I feel like you have to stay off it a little bit more to be able to focus and prepare for your opponents. So, yeah, that's happening.
It definitely, you get attention. You know, you're always keeping up with the other players, other teams, and just knowing what they're up to. And but I wouldn't say it affects how we come out and how we prepare. You just have to stay focused and not let it change you.
Can social media sometimes be a detriment, especially given the spotlight that shines on your region nationally as well as statewide?
You asking me?
All of
I mean, I think so. I mean, I think if you allow it to. I mean, I think, and again, it goes back to how do we don't get a whole lot of attention in that regard. Number one, the head football coach he came over on the Mayflower. I can't even spell social media. So, you know, we're not as up to date as all that stuff. So, you know, we're not getting we have guys that, you know, like we got circles, everybody else has stars by their names. Again, it gets back to our when we see that from other people, do we somehow feel like, oh my gosh, we don't belong? And again, it gets down to, you know, again, let's pee on that. We just got to come out and play. I mean, you put your pants on the same way I put mine on, and, you know, those guys at Hoover, they may stand up on the lockers and jump, and they just, you know, their girdles just come on. I don't know. I don't think they do. But, you know, it does, I think, create a sense where your guys are, oh gosh, we're not getting this and we're not getting that. And man, you know, Thompson, they're all in the media, and their guys are, you know, they got guys that are 12 that are getting highlighted. And, you know, yes, but I mean, you can't worry about it. You got to me, I'm fired up about that. I'm like, well, good gosh, I get a chance to go smack that 5-star around and do some stuff to them. And that's what we talked about last week. It's we've got to have that and put a chip on our shoulder and get after it a little bit. What do you think, JB? JB's a man of few words.
How's JD going to follow that up anyway?
Will can do it. What do you think, Will?
Well, I do feel like sometimes it encourages you to go harder because you see what they're up to and what they're, you know, achieving. So, you know, you just take it with a grain of salt, but you have to go out and still compete with those guys.
Do you guys think Chris really came over on the Mayflower?
No, actually, it was one of the boats of Jamestown.
It was the Dino. All right.